He owns the tallest view in the city, glass on every side. The skyline bows to him. It is 2 in the morning, and he cannot remember the last time he felt anything at all. There is a word for a man who has everything. We call him successful. We do not ask if he is happy. Tonight, for the first time, he is asking it himself. And the silence that answers is the loudest thing he has ever heard. It did not happen all at once. First the apartment, then the larger one, the car, then the rarer car. Each thing thrilled him for a week, maybe a month. Then the thrill drained out of it, the way water leaves a cracked glass. Psychologists have a name for this. They call it the hedonic treadmill. You run and the ground moves with you and you arrive nowhere. He has been running for 30 years. He is exactly where he started. He simply owns the treadmill now. There was a number once, a figure he wrote on the inside of his mind when he was young and hungry. When I reach this, he told himself, I will stop. I will rest. I will be free. He passed that number years ago. He did not stop. He drew a new one, higher, and chased that instead. Researchers who study money and joy keep finding the same quiet truth. Once your needs are met, more wealth buys less and less feeling. The line flattens. The heart does not follow the bank account. He has more than he ever dreamed of, and he feels exactly nothing. The crack came on an ordinary Tuesday. Rain on the window, the city smearing past in gold and gray. His phone lit up. Another deal closed, another victory. He looked at it for a long time, and he felt the way you feel when someone tells you good news about a stranger. Distant, polite, untouched. That night, he stood at the glass again and asked the question that would end his old life. If this is the top, why does it feel like falling? He did not go looking for God. He went looking for sleep. A doctor, half joking, told him to sit still for 10 minutes a day. He could not do it. The man who commanded 1,000 people could not command his own mind for 600 seconds. But somewhere in the failing, he noticed something. A single lotus floating in a bowl of water on the table. Rooted in mud he could not see. Opening anyway. He could not say why, but he could not look away. The first weeks were a war. He sat, and his mind screamed for a screen, a deal, a drink, a sound, anything but this. Stillness felt like drowning in slow motion. Every instinct he had built told him the same thing. Do something. Acquire something. Fix this feeling by adding to your life. It was the only move he knew. And for the first time, it was not working. What do you do when the strategy that built your whole world finally fails you? He began to live in 2 worlds. By day, the boardroom, the numbers, the war, the bowing skyline. By night, 10 minutes of silence that frightened him more than any rival ever had. The 2 could not hold. One promised everything the world admires. The other promised something the world cannot price. He felt himself being pulled apart along a seam he never knew he had. Soon, he would have to choose which man would survive. So he did what he had always done with a hard problem. He opened a ledger. Not of money. He had ledgers enough for that. This one had 2 columns. On one side, everything he owned. The towers, the accounts, the art no one was allowed to touch. On the other, everything that owning it had cost. The marriage that quietly ended. The children who became strangers. The mornings he never saw, because he was already at war. He stared at the 2 columns for a long time, and he understood at last which one held his real wealth, and that the wrong column was empty. There is a door in every life that only opens once. On one side, the man you have always been. On the other, the person you were too afraid to become. He stood at his own threshold on a cold morning, the key still warm in his hand. Behind him, everything he had built. Ahead, nothing he could name. The old voice said, "You are insane. You have won. Stay and enjoy it." The new voice said only, quietly, "Let go." And he opened his hand. He did not lose his fortune. He gave it. The towers signed over. The accounts emptied into hands that needed them. The dark coat that had been his armor for 30 years folded and set down. People said he had lost his mind. Perhaps he had. Perhaps the mind he lost was the one that had been quietly starving him all along. In its place, he kept almost nothing. And for the first time in his life, nothing felt like enough. The monastery did not welcome him as a great man. It did not know he had been one. He swept floors, he carried water, he woke before the sun in a plain ochre robe, his wrist bare where a fortune used to sit. The silence he once feared began to change shape. It was not empty after all. It was full of birdsong, of breath, of a peace so old it had no price. He had spent his life trying to fill himself from the outside. Here, for the first time, he was being filled from within. One evening, the old teacher set a bowl before him. In it, a handful of gold coins, and resting on them, a single white lotus. The lotus, the teacher said, does not grow in clear water. It grows in mud, in the dark, in exactly the place you would never look for beauty. Your wealth was never the flower. It was only the mud. The question was never how much mud you could gather. It was whether anything would ever bloom from it. He looked at the flower resting on the gold, and he finally understood the difference between being rich and being free. He owns nothing now, and lacks for nothing. He eats simply, and tastes everything. He sleeps deeply, the way he had not since he was a boy. The skyline no longer bows to him, and he no longer needs it to. He traded a fortune for a morning he is actually awake to see. Ask him if he regrets it, and he only smiles. You cannot regret putting down a weight you were never meant to carry. So let me ask you the question he was too busy to ask himself. What is your number? The figure you tell yourself will finally be enough. And when you reach it, be honest, will you stop? Or will you do what he did? Draw a new line just past your reach and call the chase a life. Wealth is not the enemy. Emptiness wearing the mask of wealth, that is the enemy. The richest thing you will ever own cannot be deposited or inherited or stolen. It can only be noticed. And most of us are far too busy earning to notice it at all. He sits now on a mountain at first light. No towers, no titles, no glass between him and the sky. Below him, the valley fills slowly with gold, the only gold he kept, and the only kind that was ever free. He breathes. The sun clears the ridge. Somewhere far away, a city is waking to chase a number it will never catch. And here, a man who once owned almost everything sits owning almost nothing, and is, at last, completely full. If this story moved something in you, sit with it before you scroll on. Ask yourself the one question that changed his life. Not how much do I want, but what is it all for? Tell me in the comments. What would be enough for you? And if you want more stories about the quiet truths beneath money, power, and the human mind, stay with the Gilded Mind. Some fortunes are counted. The ones that matter are felt